what they think of your job performance. And this bill is a temporary measure in response to an urgent threat. Californians can see that threat. Why? Because we are living through the consequences of Trump's policies every single day. And today, we are giving every Californian the opportunity to say no to Donald Trump's power grab and to stand up for our people, for our state, and for our democracy. And with that, I want to invite up here Senate Pro Tem Mike McGuire.
Well, good afternoon. I want to take a moment to acknowledge Speaker Rivas. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, and I'll continue to say it. He is one of the best in the nation. We are so grateful that he is helping lead California, and I'm grateful to call him a partner and a friend. And thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for all your work. I want to acknowledge the governor who has had the backbone to be able to stand up against Donald Trump, one of the few. Accountability is coming, thanks to California. I also want to acknowledge the senators, the assembly members who have moved this historic legislation forward today. And we are here this afternoon because we're putting our faith in our fellow Californians to do the sacred duty to walk into the voting booth, sit at their kitchen table, and do their best to do the right thing. Cast their vote in one of the most consequential elections that we will have in our lifetime. And let's be honest, let's get through the rhetoric. We all know we wouldn't be here in this situation if it weren't for the nefarious actions of Republican leaders in Texas and their boss, Donald Trump. Actions of Republicans in Texas that have now been compounded by inaction from Republicans in California. Let's be crystal clear. All of this entire circus could have been avoided, nullifying nearly a century of election protocols. We know that this is just the start. Redistricting is the first step in Donald Trump's playbook. He said the quiet part out loud earlier this week. They're coming after mail-in voting to disenfranchise tens of millions of Americans. Next stop, the census. Our Republican colleagues, all this week here in California, Republican leaders have gone on TV, had press conferences, did live events on their social media, expressing outrage about the action that California is taking. But what they forgot to mention is how we got here. We got here because of Greg Abbott, Republican leaders in Texas, and their boss, Donald Trump. They started all of this. And sometimes in life, you have to stand for the greater good, even though you may lose your job as an elected leader. Sometimes you have to tell your boss no. You have to do something constructive, do everything in your power to ensure free and fair elections. And that's what Democrats did today here in California. And certainly you have to do more than vote against redistricting reforms the way Republicans have year after year after year. Their votes are public. They have voted against the vast majority of independent redistricting reforms advanced in this legislature over this past decade. You know, it is offensive to be able to see these sham lawsuits that Republican leaders in California are advancing. We called it the Scaramucci of the lawsuits in the last 48 hours. The Supreme Court rejected it. And it's offensive because their brethren are literally tracking elected leaders with state troopers, calling in the FBI, locking legislators in the chambers, and dragging a female legislator out of the bathroom just simply because she didn't have permission to go. Here is, I think, all of our concern. We've seen this story play out in history. The hypocrisy today may save them for today, but it won't save their hides tomorrow. Because the secret police and the Mar-a-Lago goons, they're going to find a way and a reason to come after them as well, just like they're doing Democratic mayors and leaders across this nation. All of us support independent redistricting here in California and every state in this union. One thing that we do not support is unilateral disarmament when the fairness of the 2026 election is being threatened. You know, other states may want to play games. California is the only state committed to fairness whose potential redistricting goes away the minute others drop theirs. I'm going to end it right here with this. Today was more than drawing lines on a map. It was about drawing a line in the sand to stop Texas, to stop Donald Trump from rigging this election. And the stakes are so high for California. Millions are going to lose health care. Our families will lose health care. Fire assistance will continue to be leveraged for millions across this state. People are going to continue to be snatched up off the street. Public education funding is going to dry up, and the governor will talk about a recent Supreme Court ruling that's going to hurt this state for years to come. One of the main reasons I think I voted for today is because this package of bills, the person that's going to be impacted the most is going to be waiting for me tonight at our kitchen table to tell me about his first week of school. My son, 4.5, started TK this week. Today's vote, regardless of what Republicans may say, today's vote is not about politics. Today's vote is about protecting people. It's about protecting this state, protecting our progress and everything that we stand for. It's about protecting the future, ensuring fairness, and trusting the voters. And I want to take a moment to say thank you to Governor Gavin Newsom for his leadership, for his tenacity, for his backbone. Can we please give him a round of applause?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To all of the leaders that are assembled here today, thank you for an outstanding job. Thank you for your faith and devotion to this larger cause, democracy that I think should unite all of us, regardless of our political party and political stripes. Let me just briefly reinforce, because I'm eager to sign a bill that no other governor in U.S. history has ever signed, a bill that will put the maps in front of the voters. We'll be the first state in U.S. history to, in the most democratic way, submit to the people of our state the ability to determine their own maps. That simply has not been done. But I want to first just briefly back up and pick up a little bit on what the Speaker and the Pro Tem said, and just remind everybody what they reminded you that need to be reminded, all of us again, of how we got here. We got here because the President of the United States is struggling. We got here because the President of the United States is one of the most unpopular presidents in U.S. history. We got here because he recognizes that he will lose the election. Congress will go back into the hands of the Democratic Party next November. We got here because of his failed policies. Those are being exposed hour by hour, reinforced today by Walmart announcing they'll be raising prices because of the tax increases, because of the tariffs. Reminded every day by a slowing economy, growing mistrust, distrust all across this nation. Across the board, he is failing. He recognized that, and that's why he made a phone call to Greg Abbott, asking for 5 seats. Can't win by playing by traditional sets of rules. He plays by no rules. I remind you all the time, it's not the rule of law, it's the rule of Don. And we're standing up to that. We're responding to that. They fired the first shot, Texas. We wouldn't be here had Texas not done what they just did. Donald Trump didn't do what he just did. He went so far as to follow up and say that he didn't just want those 5 seats. He said he's, quote unquote, entitled to those 5 seats. Just pause and reflect on that. Everything should have just stopped there. President of the United States claiming he's entitled to 5 seats. That should put chills up your spine. Every Republican, not just Democrat and Independent, every American. Those enduring values that we celebrate, just celebrated 249 years, the best of the Roman Republic, Greek democracy, the rule of law, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty. What we'll celebrate, will we? next year, the 250th anniversary. Masked men at the site of the Japanese that were interned and bussed in Little Tokyo last week in Los Angeles were sent right there in front of the Democracy Center as we kicked off this effort. That's a preview of things to come all across the United States of America. Mark my word, just as we let folks know what was going to happen in other cities, what is happening in Washington, D.C., we said 2 months ago, Los Angeles is a preview of things to come with the federalization of the National Guard, with the militarization of the streets of America. And I'll remind you, Donald Trump never sent the military, active duty military, in his first term or now even in his second term, anywhere overseas. He sent them to a United States city. They remain federalized National Guard, interestingly, through Election Day. $175 billion in the bill that was just signed to reinforce the ranks of ICE, Homeland Security, for what is increasingly becoming self-evident to anyone with eyes wide open and any level of objectivity, a private army for Donald Trump. Owing an oath only to him, not the Constitution of the United States. You just heard from the Speaker that vote-in-mail ballots are being threatened by the President of the United States. 80% of Californians, no coincidence, 80% submitted their ballots in the last election, 86% in 2022, 88% in 2020. He's trying to rig the election. He's trying to set up the conditions where he can claim that the elections were not won fair and square. Open your eyes to what is going on in the United States of America in 2025. That's what this is about. We're responding what occurred in Texas. We're neutralizing what occurred, and we're giving the American people a fair chance. Because when all things are equal, and we're all playing by the same set of rules, there's no question that the Republican Party will be the minority party in the House of Representatives next year. We'll be transitioning, and I'll close, from this process that has unfolded over the course of the last few weeks to the campaign. After I sign these two pieces of legislation establishing a special session and the maps, I also will be signing a proclamation on November 4th, the people of the state of California, in a transparent and, as Speaker and Pro Tem said, temporary and democratic way, will have the opportunity to determine their fate and our collective future. And I couldn't be more proud, again, of the extraordinary leaders that are standing up for the rule of law, are standing up for the principles and those enduring values of our founding fathers. Thank you for getting us to this point. We have a lot more work to do to get this done on November 4th.
Okay, we'll see it from here. Yeah. Well, I here we go. Everybody's trying to get over there.
Yeah.
We'll establish the formality with the special election proclamation. We'll establish November 4th. This formal special. transitioning nearby, and we'll have a chance to take all your questions. And we'll look forward to seeing you shortly. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.